Good evening, Ruskin enjoyers. I hope you're alright, 'cause it's time to talk about the Neon Collection. Now, in the past, it has been referred to as the Neon Storage Collection. I wonder why. As you can see, all these large boxes were accepted. Well, it did progress quite nicely, and then it kind of generalised into other certain deplorables, didn't it? So I guess we could just refer to it as the Neon Collection. But anyway, let's just go back into the past, talk about what happened as of last year, and talk about how things are currently as of now in 2025. So let's get started. So back in 2021, we got all these large boxes being accepted, and it became the first prominent sort of well-known storage collection. Loads of people wanted all of these skins, and of course, they ended up going up and up and up in price. So as that was going on, Duck, the skin creator, he tried to see if he could dabble into some other things. He even made some small box skins. He wanted to see if he could get like mini versions of certain large boxes. Unfortunately, back in 2021, that didn't happen. We did not see those small boxes being accepted. Skip ahead 3 years later, it's May 2024, and we have a pseudo complete the sets. And what do we see being accepted? A neon small fuel storage. So a lot of people at that time just instantly assumed that, what, that's basically a neon storage skin and it's just going to go up in price very easily. Tons of people bought it. So I was kind of considering, oh no, are we going to have oversaturation problems? Well, with the evidence that we're likely going to see like a subsidiary collection being produced out of just small boxes, yes, it was concerning. And guess what? Yes, it actually happened. We had the fuel storage, we had the food storage, we had the med storage, and then we had a few more. And they were all selling absurdly. But then again, clearly loads of people actually wanted it. But were we going to still see tons of them on the Steam market? Was it going to build up into becoming a problem? Because I did remember in the past that the large box skins, they of course graciously rose up in price as time went on, but it didn't happen in an instant. It took time. And with these small boxes, with the amount of people jumping in and buying tons of them, just couldn't help but assume that we might have a little bit too much, just a little bit too much on the Steam market, and it might take a while for all of that stock to eventually disappear, and then we actually start seeing some gains. And after a while, Duck the skin creator, he had produced a very lovely batch of small boxes, but were they all going to be accepted? Because what he was also producing was other deplorables. As you can see, we had that locker right there, and what followed it was more lockers, and what followed that was a whole bunch of garage doors. So as the whole thing progressed, we reached a point where we basically thought that that was the end, and evidently it was. That was 6 months ago. So whilst we had some nice progression, and whilst we saw some very interesting skins being produced and accepted, we had to question, were these actually going to work out quite nicely as investments? Because 6 months ago, that was just basically in the midst of the autumn-fall seasonal dip. We were expecting a lot of skins to go down in price, as per usual. It's a routine thing. But were they actually going to progress and work out nicely for post-Christmas, that being January 2025? Well, that's what we're here for. We're going to go do a nice little review of all the skins and then question what might potentially happen next. So that last video I just showed you, I recorded that back in September of 2024, but the actual last skin to be accepted was August 2024, the Neon Core Garage Door. But let's just scroll back to the very beginning when we first saw the large boxes being accepted. Now, coincidentally, as of this recording, it's been 4 years since this was accepted, since this whole collection even started. So, hey, happy birthday. Anyway, all the large boxes were accepted and they basically stopped towards the end of 2021. Then about 3 years later, then we see the small boxes surprisingly appear. They were selling absolutely absurd amounts, around 40 to 50,000 for all these skins. Then we started seeing lockers, then we started seeing garage doors. So what I want to do is just talk about how these have progressed, because when we first saw them, we're definitely questioning, is that a little bit too much? Especially even when it's like 2024 times, where we even had like quite a lot of people playing compared to, people playing back in 2021. So yeah, let's just talk about the Neon Small Fuel Storage to get started with. So this was the first of the new subsidiary batch of the small boxes, and we saw there were other skins being produced, but there's no guarantee we're definitely going to see like the food storage and the med storage being accepted. Well, that happened, and this actually spiked in price quite nicely for a period of time, and then it crashed. So here were my thoughts when I was talking about these back in 2024. I thought that all of them, based on the amount that had sold, I thought they're all going to go down to around $1 at some point. That was what I was expecting. But what you can see here with the fuel storage was it spiked up for a while, then it started to go down, and it went down, and it went down, and it went down. And then post-Christmas happened, but it still went down. And only recently now have we actually started to see some actual gains, because it can only go down so low. And from here, potentially, could this be the beginnings of where we actually start to see these skins actually start to rise up in price concurrently? Will it ever end? Well, we'll talk more about that. But as you can see, it's just basically been one slow downward trend for quite some time. Now, if we were to take a look at all the other storages, would you be surprised to see that they're fairly cheap? Would you be surprised to see that they're basically around $1? I'm not surprised. I fully expected it. So I gave the warnings. I kept telling everybody, these sales are a bit too ridiculous. They're going to be, shifted onto the Steam market. And we should also consider, how much listings do we see here right now? 176, 140. Well, when it was really bad, these had like several hundred listings. So much more than what we're currently looking at. This is still basically an improvement. Yeah, you still got that guy there with 34 listed, but still better. But now, as you can see, again, it's been going down, 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 down. Is this the point where it stops? Is this the point where we start to see prices improve and it actually reaches up to a new high price at some point in the future? Well, when exactly will that be? We shall see, but it does look like it has stopped going down in price. So now we're going to go over, talk about the med storage real quickly. 235, not surprising because that did over 50,000 subscribers. Look at the amount of listings we have there. 71, what are you doing? What are you doing? Anyway, over to here. Yep, get a good look at all the blue. That is the amount of sales it gets basically every day. And as you might notice, if we could just remove that, initially it did go down, stopped. This actually kind of did quite nicely in the lead up to post-Christmas. And basically, since February, it has started to trend upwards. So this one has been a little bit different. But I can't help but assume a lot more people want the med storage compared to some of the other small boxes that we had. So there's more demand and desire for this one. There's a reason why its price is actually a little bit better. But it's still cheaper than what it sold for in the Rust store. And if you didn't invest into this, maybe it's up to you. No, I'm just kind of pointing out things to you. Maybe you might want to make some considerations. Anyway, quick look at the Neon Small Comp storage. A little bit better on average, but looking at that, well, it has basically been quite similar to the med storage, but still, it's below its Rust store price. But it really doesn't look like it's going down any more so. So okay. Maybe it could have a bit of a nice turnaround. Maybe this upcoming summer of 2025, maybe it'll improve. Maybe it actually go up in price. We'll see, but it's for your consideration. And then we have the small seed storage. Now, whilst all the other small boxes sold pretty absurdly, this did like a reasonable 25,000 subscribers, something like that. So it has considerably less listings. The price is so much better. I mean, well, there you go. That actually looks like it could improve ever so nicely. And then you look at its sales history, and that is comfortably trending upwards. Again, it's not like the other ones, and if all of them start to improve with their prices, this might be the one that becomes the most expensive, potentially. But based on what you see here, it really doesn't look like that's going to be too much of a task, I guess you could say. So, all right then. We have essentially seen that initially, pretty much all of these did go down in price a fair bit. But then, afterwards, eventually after a while, then they are starting to go up in price. Now, that's not a huge gain at the moment, but as I said, it might be the very beginning of eventually a nice slow rise in price. So to kind of really get the point across, we're going to have to go back to the past, looking at the large boxes, just to get a good idea of how things turned out. So here we have the Neon Food Storage. Obviously, it was accepted back in 2021. We've got a lot of sales data to take a look at, but here it is. Get a good look at that. So initially, as we kept seeing more and more and more neon storages being accepted, there was a lot of hype behind them. Prices were improving and spiking very nicely. Then that stopped. Autumn fall seasonal dip hits. This basically went back down to its Rust store price. But after that, it slowly starts to rise. And as time has gone on, it looks like it probably has peaked in terms of how high it probably ever will get to. But it's still much better than the price it sold for in a Rust store. It's essentially 3 times the price. But that took a while to eventually get to a price like this. And recently, it did drop off a fair bit, but it might start rising back up again as we approach the summer. So, yeah, comparing that to the small box kind of went down pretty quickly and instantly, even with the extra skins being accepted. But I think we still could see something like this happen. So, not exactly perfectly comparing, but I still expect something like this to happen. So we'll keep an eye on this from here and now, I'm sure. And just to show you some other, large boxes that we had, here's the Neon Armor Storage, selling at $9. Scroll down a fair bit. How have you fared over the past few years? And well, we do have that initial hype. Drops off during the autumn fall seasonal dip, and then the rising begins, and it rises, and it rises, and it rises. Now, also take note, what's going on here? Well, this is the autumn fall seasonal dip. This is the autumn fall seasonal dip. This is spring. This is the autumn fall seasonal dip. This is spring. Do you notice something? And what's the date right now? It's March. It's spring. There you go. So, just pointing that out. And as you might notice here, very recently, we reached a low point, but it looks like it's starting to rise back up already. All right, just point it out. And just one more large box, as you can see, Neon Gun Storage, $13.40. Scroll down, look at the sales history, and what do we see? Something very similar. Initial hype, autumn fall seasonal dip, lowest point, rises, rises, rises. Yes, we do have some camel humps and whatnot, but that is Easter, autumn fall seasonal dip, Easter, autumn fall seasonal dip, Easter. So there you go, cool. Eventually, as time went on, the price has improved because, people really happen to like it, and there's only so much of it to go around. So, cool. We've got that all understood. We get it. Well, then we started seeing different deplorables being produced. And when I first saw the Neon Locker, I was like, okay, it's cool. I thought that was going to be a one-off, but as time went on, we found out the skin creator actually intended to make a set of 3, and evidently that did happen, as you can see. Then I questioned, all right, so that's nice to see, but are people going to really want a locker dedicated to a full kit, and a hazmat locker, and a road sign locker? I mean, for what it is, it's a cool idea, and not going to complain about having more of the collection, but is this going to be as in demand compared to like the large boxes and the small boxes? And initially, this did very well, because of course we got this and this being accepted afterwards, so that actually spiked demand, spiked in price quite nicely, as you can see. But then afterwards, down. Are we seeing something very similar? It initially had some hype, but then it goes down afterwards. Now, the length of this drop is more significant compared to what we've seen in the past with these, storages here. But I still think we're eventually going to get this point where they all start rising up again. So, yes, it was a bit longer, but could we still see the eventual nice, gracious, slow rise in price? What are your thoughts? Feel free to comment below. But could this be, quite literally, the lowest point it's ever going to be? And from here now, what happens next? Now, with the other storages, unfortunately, they didn't perform as nicely. They all sold quite nicely overall, but could that still go lower? Maybe. But with the BARD as it has, it looks like it could hold this up, and it looks like it could start improving from here and now. Just pointing that out. And then we've got the Neon Road Sign Locker. This one performed a little bit better, and as you can see, it looks like it has stopped going down. And it looks like it's also starting to go back up in price. Wow, okay, we'll see how that goes. Then we have the garage doors. I don't think these ones were as in demand. Let's just go back to the past. So, whilst the small boxes did around 40,000 subscribers on average, and then we had the lockers doing at least that did 42,000, this did 24,000, and this did about 23,000. These two, the first two, did about 24,000, but then the core only did 17. So we were starting to get some fatigue. People just didn't really care enough that much. And unfortunately, all of these garage doors did go down in price. Now, would you want to label directions and where to go in your base? But the core, at the very least, could be used as some sort of decoy, some trick. We did kind of discuss that quite a lot. Questioning are people even going to want to use it in such a way and whatnot? Based on the price and the barders, I'm pretty sure you can tell it's not that in demand. It's very unfortunate to say, but hey, yeah. Now, I just kind of want to bring this up. I don't think these garage doors are going to behave like the large boxes and the small boxes and whatnot. I think these will be isolated by themselves. I think they're just going to probably be struggling for the foreseeable future. Now, if I were to just quickly show you garage doors in general, you might realise that we have a ridiculous amount of them. What makes you say that? Because for the past 2 or 3 years, we have consecutively beaten the amount of garage doors being accepted in a single year. And when so many of them are accepted, they struggle to maintain interest, and they all suffer. Look at that. That's all the recent ones. Then you look at last year's ones. Whilst a few are doing pretty all right, all the other ones... So I don't think the behaviour that we're expecting from what we've seen in the past with these will be happening with the neon garage doors. It's unfortunate, but the novelty of them, hey, it's cool, it's nice. And look, at the end of the day, if you bought one for yourself because you wanted it, that's fine. You wanted it, you got it. I hope you appreciated it. But yeah, when it came to actually like all of the neon skins, so let's just bring that up again on my SCMM to APP. I type in neon. I go to the 5th collection here, and did you actually buy any of them? Did you buy them straight from the store, or did you buy them through buy orders? Because let me tell you, I ended up getting a lot of them through buy orders. As I said, when it came to the small boxes, I truly believed I could just pick them all up with a $1 buy order. That did happen. Now, fortunately, some of them did go below $1 at one point, but they have seemingly recovered to a certain point, which is okay for now. When it comes to lockers, they did drop off quite a fair bit. I am hoping they improve, but we'll see. But the garage doors, I remember when I put my barders down, I had to remove them because I was buying too many too quickly and the prices were suffering. They have kind of stabilised. It doesn't look like they'll be going down anymore so, but I don't have that much faith with them. So it's a bit awkward, but it is what it is. Now, will we ever have another instance where we have like a complete the sets like this and we'll get another attempt with the storages again, potentially? Because I did bring this up and I'll mention it again. Scroll all the way down. We still have some skins that are submitted but never accepted. So as we go over to here, we had the neon loot room door, the neon exit door, and we never got the new and improved neon storage small cards box or the berries box. Now here's the annoying thing. With all the storages, they have like a special number on them. You might notice it right there. We have all the large boxes going up to 18. We have nothing that's 19, and we skipped ahead to the neon small fuel storage at 20. We never got cards. Cards was number 19. We never got it. And then we also have berries, which would be greatly appreciated right about now with the cooking update. And, you know, I love to make some lovely tea. But, yeah, never got that, unfortunately, either. So maybe at some point, we're really hoping that we're going to see either of these potentially with the second complete the sets back in late 2024. That didn't happen, unfortunately. But you never know. Maybe we'll still see it again in the future. But what I can confirm was we got ourselves a pretty interesting little Twitch drop. And what do we have right here in front of us now? You may recall, yes, it was Fusely and K Katamina's Twitch drop. But look at it. Come on now. That is a neon storage box. That is the miscellaneous box. It is slightly more improved, I guess you could say, in terms of its design. And we'll do a nice little comparison in a bit. But it looks like a neon storage. It's made by the very skin creator that has the neon storage collection. I mean, come on now, look at it. So a lot of people got that for absolutely free, and I'm sure you're appreciating it and enjoying it because you can put whatever you want. It's anything. It's miscellaneous. But I think we'd agree that you could consider it, you know, part of the overall collection. So we did see another skin added later on, which is cool. But will we actually see another thing potentially ever again? So I did bring this up. Maybe we could see those small boxes at some point. Maybe the other garage doors. But there's also another thing that we should bring up to you. But we'll showcase that in a second. Because after talking about this for so long, why don't we actually showcase the skins themselves? And here we are. Yep. So this is where it all started. We had the large boxes being accepted. We got a whole bunch of them. Now, the most expensive one is the boom storage. This is now pushing up to $50. It's pretty ridiculous, but hey, people want it, and there's only so many of them to go around. So why don't we just quickly look at these at night time? So, well, bam, quick look at Total Darkness, and there you go. They stand out very, very nicely, easy to read, very straightforward, and, well, I guess that's the reason why people appreciate them. You're always seeing them in, like, the Twitch events and whatnot, aren't you? So cool, pretty nice, and they're quite reflective when you look at them at night time with lights next to them. But overall, people do be appreciating. So that worked out very nicely, and as I just alluded to, here we have the Neon MISC storage. It is like an upgraded version of the ones that we just saw a second ago, but the spirit and the love is all there. It's still essentially the same thing, I guess you could say. So get a good look at that. Looking very nice. Nice and reflective in the sunlight. And of course, if we just turn off the lights again, you can see it reflects quite nicely right next to this light right here. But if we go to Total Darkness, you got that perfect readability. You got the perfect color scheme. Yeah, so maybe this is what Neon Storage Collection could have been if it was made in 2024/2025. Well, it's still perfect the way it is. So that's looking cool. Now let's go over and take a look at the small boxes. So Neon. And what do we have over here? It started off with fuel, then we had the food, then we got meds, then we got comps, and then we got seeds. How nice. So, yep, that's all of them right there, looking ever so nice. They sold pretty ridiculously. They did get down to a pretty cheap price, but half the reason why I brought this up to your attention is because I did make a video quite recently, and here is said video. So, the general gist of what we had here is that I pointed out that it does appear that we've already reached a low point with many skin prices for the Easter 2025 period, and it looks like a lot of skins are starting to improve. And based on what we saw with quite a lot of those small boxes, is it does look like they're actually starting to go up in price for the first time since they've appeared on the Steam market. And I did allude to the idea that if they were to emulate the behaviour of the large boxes, it could be the very beginning of a nice, slow, gracious rise up in price. Consider that in the past, we did see several hundred listings of each small box, but now we're kind of down to around 100-ish. Still quite a fair bit, but not as much as what we used to see. Prices could be improving. The opportunity is right there, and you might want to consider making it now, making the move now, because well, maybe they're not going to be as cheap as they are currently right now. So just point that out. So yeah, nice little helpful video. But let's now go back and take a look at those skins again. So yeah, as I said, looking very nice, quite reflective as well in the sunlight, as you can see in the very tops there. Pretty cool. Now, as I did allude to, we don't have these two small boxes. Could that ever happen? We certainly would hope so. Get a good look at that. Number 19 and number 22. Will we ever see the likes of you? I certainly would hope so. So, we'll see, we'll see. All right then. Now, there was something I was alluding to with potentially maybe a brand new neon deplorable of some sort. We have had some changes with the cooking update, the March Force wipe, where food, it rots now, and you need to keep it nice and fresh in the fridge. I think the food small box and the large box might be a little bit redundant now, and perhaps it's perfect to see, potentially, a neon food fridge, perhaps? We'll see, but hey, keep an eye out for the possibility, all right? Maybe. I'm sorry, Duck. You're going to get quite a lot of people asking now, but they have asked. I'm just saying. And now we're over to here, with all the lockers on display. So I will ask you, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and your own opinions, do you actually need this many lockers? Do you actually need a locker that says full kit and road sign and hazmat? Because I can't help but assume a lot of people just probably use this one. What's a full kit? It's whatever I want it to be. But yeah, I do remember some people were asking for potentially having like a primitive one being made. Primitive, but in a locker, isn't that a bit odd? Whatever. Anyway, nighttime go. They stand out very nicely to this day, as you can see. Now, if you're colourblind, well. But yeah, it does look pretty and it does look nice. But do you even need all of them? Would you just rather stick with some other lockers that you probably already own? Your opinions do matter. Feel free to comment below. So, yeah, that worked out reasonably. Still, the prices could be improving, but as of now, that is what they're doing. So we'll see what happens next. But if we could just switch over to the garage doors. Oh, yes. Get a good look at all of those. Are you a up enjoyer or a down enjoyer? That sounds weird. Cool. Alright, anyway, so looking pretty fine for what it is, but yeah, I'm still not feeling super confident that they're going to end up going up to a stupidly high price at some point in the future. Now, here's a little annoying thing that's going to wind you up. Do you see how that's number 1? Do you see how that's number 2? Do you see how that's number 4? Oh no, what happened? Well, we did bring this up over to here. There's the loot room garage door, number 3, and here's the exit door, number 5. So overall, we don't have a complete collection here, do we? Come on, Face Punch. It's called Complete the Sets for a reason. Maybe they've left some skins behind strategically. We shall see. Anyway, quick look at night. Get a good look at that. Looking very nice and bright at night time. Looking pretty sweet. Don't think people complain for what it is, especially at the price that they're at now. But yeah, do you like the idea of labelling where to go up and where to go down and where your core is and whatnot? You would. Who's going to complain about the idea of pointing out where the loot room is? But again, could be a trick. Just point it out. You open it up and then you get shot by a trap. No, why is there a shotgun trap there? Oh dear, I was lied to. All right. Anyway, so overall, it's nice. It's cool. It's the Neon collection as a whole. So out of all these skins, which ones do you own? Are you satisfied? Are you happy? And would you like to see it return again? But maybe they could probably start working on different deplorables, as I did allude to with that fridge over there. It would be nice, but don't annoy Duck. We'll see, because he did attempt many, many times in the past, and it took years for Facepunch to decide, yeah, we do want to get some more skins accepted. Let's go. But we seem to be in that period of time again where we've got to wait maybe just a little bit longer, and then we'll potentially see some more. We shall see. Overall, it's nice. It's selling quite nicely as well. But will we see those prices improve to ridiculous prices we see with the large boxes? One can hope. But it does take a little bit of patience, and you should consider looking at the prices as of now, looking at the quantity on third-party sites and on the Steam market, and question, maybe it potentially starts now. I hope I brought all the details to you nicely, efficiently, concisely. I hope the showcase of all the skins was pretty cool as well. But other than that, it's in your hands now, people. It is March, and you've got to start making some moves for what you think might potentially be some very nice investments for the future. My name is Hedge, and I've been yapping more than enough. Let's wrap this up. So, again, best of luck to you on your investments. Catch you all later. See you and goodbye.